The shadow war against Ibrahim Traoré, Africa's new Sankara?
The humid night air of Ouagadougou clung to the streets as Captain Ibrahim Traoré's convoy sped through the city's dimly lit outskirts. It was September 2025, and Burkina Faso's revolutionary leader had just delivered another fiery speech denouncing Western imperialism. Traoré, the young soldier who rose to power by expelling French troops and nationalizing gold mines, knew the dangers of defiance. "They will come for me," he had warned his inner circle. Hours later, they did. The ambush was surgical RPGs tore through the lead vehicle, followed by precision gunfire from rooftops. Traoré's security detail, hardened by years of jihadist insurgencies, reacted swiftly, bundling him into an armored car as bullets ricocheted off the pavement. The attackers vanished into the night, leaving no trace but shell casings and a burning question: who ordered the hit? Local dissidents? A rogue faction? Or, as Burkina intelligence suspected, foreign hands? Days earlier, France had frozen Burkina Faso's assets over Traoré's deal with Russian mining conglomerates. Macron's cabinet had labeled him a destabilizing force. Now, the streets whispered of DGSE operatives and a replay of 1987, when Thomas Sankara, Africa's Che Guevara, was gunned down by his own comrades in a French-backed coup.
Traoré survived, but the message was clear. Like Sankara, he had dared to reclaim Africa's resources. He banned Western NGOs, expelled French diplomats, and turned to Moscow for military support. In Paris, this was treason. Uranium mines in Niger had already slipped from French control. Losing Burkina Faso's gold would be catastrophic. Leaked documents revealed emergency meetings between the Elysée and mining executives. A Burkina whistleblower later claimed to have seen mercenaries training with French-made rifles near the Ivory Coast border. The evidence was circumstantial, but the pattern was undeniable. In the days after the attack, Traoré emerged bandaged but unbroken. Flanked by Wagner fighters, he vowed to purge the puppets. Russian cargo planes landed with fresh supplies, while state TV played archival footage of Sankara's speeches. The parallels were chilling. Both men, both soldiers, both martyrs in waiting. France denied involvement, blaming terrorist remnants, but Africa wasn't fooled. From Bamako to Conakry, protests erupted under banners reading "Neocolonialism equals assassination." Yet Traoré's survival changed nothing. The war wasn't over, it had just begun. In private, he reportedly told allies, "Sankara's ghost walks with me." Publicly, he tightened his grip, arresting suspected traitors and accelerating alliances with Beijing and Moscow. The West seethed. Analysts predicted another attempt. The only question was when.
The sun burned over Ouagadougou as Captain Ibrahim Traoré stood before a sea of supporters, his voice cutting through the dry Sahel air. "Africa's resources belong to Africans," he declared, igniting a roar from the crowd. It was 2025, and Burkina Faso's young leader had become the continent's most dangerous man, dangerous not to his people, but to the entrenched powers in Paris and Washington. Just weeks earlier, Traoré had finalized the expulsion of French troops, seized control of multinational mining operations, and signed a sweeping defense pact with Russia. In the corridors of Western power, alarms were sounding. A classified French intelligence report obtained by African journalists warned, "Traoré cannot be allowed to become another Sankara." The comparison was deliberate and ominous. Midnight, September 15th. A black Mercedes SUV sped through Ouagadougou's darkened streets, Traoré's silhouette barely visible behind tinted windows. His security detail had insisted on this unmarked route after intercepting chatter about an event planned for his public appearance the next day. They didn't know that the real trap had already been sprung. As the convoy rounded a tight corner near the old presidential compound, the night exploded. RPG fire erupted from adjacent rooftops, not the haphazard barrage of jihadists, but precise, coordinated strikes targeting the lead and trailing vehicles. Traoré's bodyguards reacted with trained precision, but the ambush team was better equipped. Thermal imaging later revealed at least 8 shooters using suppressed rifles with NATO-standard ammunition.
The echoes of 1987 were unmistakable. Like Traoré, Thomas Sankara had been a charismatic military reformer who nationalized resources, rejected Western aid strings, and dreamed of Pan-African unity. His assassination, carried out by his deputy Blaise Compaoré with French logistical support, followed nearly identical warning signs, sanctions, smear campaigns, and finally, plausible deniability violence. Now, Traoré found himself in the same crosshairs. Leaked emails from a French defense contractor referenced stabilization measures in Burkina Faso just days before the attack. A Wagner group mercenary captured in Mali confessed, before his mysterious death, that his unit had been tracking French operatives shadowing Traoré's movements. The evidence was circumstantial, but the pattern was undeniable. Miraculously, Traoré emerged from the wreckage with only shrapnel wounds. His survival was credited to a last-second swerve by his driver, a maneuver later revealed to have been prompted by an anonymous tip from within Burkina intelligence. The aftermath saw immediate purges of senior security officials and the arrest of 3 French NGO workers carrying suspicious surveillance equipment. In a televised address from a secure bunker, a bandaged but defiant Traoré vowed, "They failed to kill Sankara's dream, and they failed to kill ours." Behind the scenes, Russian military advisors quietly assumed control of his personal security, while state media began airing archival footage of Patrice Lumumba's 1961 assassination. The message to Africa was clear: the old playbook was still in use. Today, Traoré walks with Sankara's ghost. Every public appearance sees him flanked by Wagner snipers. Every policy shift, like his recent seizure of a Glencore uranium mine, is met with fresh terrorist designations from Western capitals. Analysts note the eerie similarities to the months before Sankara's murder, the travel bans on Traoré's inner circle, the sudden appearance of armed pro-democracy groups near gold-rich regions, and the suspicious crash of a military plane carrying 2 of his most loyal generals. The question is no longer if another attempt will come, but whether Traoré can outmaneuver the forces that doomed his predecessor. As one Bamako-based diplomat grimly observed, "In Africa, revolutionaries get statues after they get bullets."